Welcome back. So glad that you're here. We're going to get started in another couple minutes. And by the way, before we get started, I want to give everybody a big round of applause for Erica.
Thank you. Good morning, Alexis.
We wouldn't be able to do this without the help and support of everybody on board. So, thank you for putting this together.
Thank you, Doug. Really, your expertise in this area is great for all of our members. We really appreciate the time that you're giving us. And I'm so excited to see new people on here every week. Thank you, Chris, for coming up with this idea. This has been just a great way to connect with our members. So happy that we continue to do this every week, and love all the new information that we just keep spreading. So this is great.
It's a great opportunity for everybody. This is how you turn lemons into lemonade. We look for opportunities in these kind of moments, and I could not be happier with Doug coming on and spending time with us and our members and sharing this great information. And frankly, Doug, sharing your energy. I think that's as important. It's your approach. A content can be great, but if the messenger doesn't deliver it properly, then it's a missed opportunity. So thank you, Doug.
Yeah, my pleasure. And one thing that I appreciate the most about us working together is that we just laugh the entire time, right?
You have to. Sorry. I like it. So, Doug, I was thinking about something this morning. Were you in Quebec City with me?
Yeah, I think that's when I first was introduced to the Association Executive Institute world. In fact, there's a video that I have to share with you at some point that has why everybody blames the MLS, right? And they want everybody to do it for them and all the problems that go on. So I'll make sure that I share that with you.
You remember, so part of this panel discussion many years ago, you and I were in it together. And then we talked about it later on at a discotheque, and they call them that in Quebec City. That's a funny story that we should tell another time. But It is 11 o'clock.
We're just preparing the live stream. So as soon as I can confirm that we're live now, yep, we're live on Facebook. We're recording on here. So I'm pretty sure that we're all set and ready to go for everybody. So
and one of these times, I like to say welcome, good morning to all of you. Metro MLS is pleased to once again host its weekly town hall meeting. This will be the third week of having our special guest and speaker, Doug DeVitri. And really the value comes from having Doug share his insight and his experiences with you. So my involvement will be very minimal, but I do want the introduction to say, to tell you something about myself, because I haven't always been CEO of Metro MLS. And in my younger days, I used to have fun being a DJ in college. And so I love the formation and creation of music. And it was one of these moments that Doug DeVitri and I, whether he remembers the details or not, I do, at a discotheque in Quebec City some years ago at an NAR event, where I talked myself into the DJ booth and actually played a couple of songs during the night. And that was a lot of fun, Doug. But that is a good introduction to Wednesday morning. With us is Doug DeVitri. Today he's going to discuss content marketing from screen-to-screen selling. This is what we've been learning on and building on the last 2 weeks, and excited for the third. This week, we were going to learn how to take a Zoom into Facebook Live conversation and turn it into content marketing as an engine. Also, learn how to turn Metro MLS information and convert it into your own marketing content. So we're really excited about that. But as with every week, Metro MLS has our weekly quick search challenge. The purpose of that is this year, Flex MLS, our MLS vendor, has made the announcement that they are sunsetting their legacy full search into quick search, which is really the ability to have a more intuitive way for how you search for information in the MLS. And so we're encouraging all of our members to make that transition during this time of lockdown, of staying at home. And each week we want to announce a winner for those who have completed the quick search challenge with our very own Vanna White, Erica Zignagel. So Erica, please spin the wheel.
All right, let's get our wheel up here so everyone can see it. We're gonna just do our random, here we go, and spin the wheel.
And again, this weekly winner will win a gift card from Amazon. Is it spinning?
Christopher.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it spin.
Let's see. Let's see.
Christopher Smith.
Christopher Smith. Yeah. Sorry you didn't get the full effect there.
Well, congratulations to Christopher Smith, our weekly winner for the Quick Search Challenge. And now, on to the important and fun stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, agents of all agents, Doug DeVitri.
Hey, thanks. And everybody, a big round of applause for Chris and Erica to putting this thing together. I mean, really, when you look at what other MLSs are doing across the country right now, you really have to give props to Metro MLS. They've really taken the lead on this to provide not just the information they always have, but how do you stay current and these different tools. So before we get started, Eric, if I can ask you to stop sharing your screen, we're going to get into the meat of this. So, if you've already participated in this before, I know that I've see some familiar names here. Patty, welcome back. Rose, welcome back. Kyle, so glad that you're here. The way in order to give you the most value is to be able to ask questions, right? So if I were to say, raise your hand if you have a question, you would raise your hand if I was in front of you, and then to be able to handle whatever question or concern that you have, right? And really, like in the market right now, there's frustration, right? Like everyone's frustrated. There's built up anxiety. People don't know where to be able to channel that energy, right? So there's different ways you can play tricks on your mind, and there's different exercises to where you can become grateful and thankful for what you have, whether it's good health, whether it's a roof over your head, food to be able to feed your family, right? Or friends who can maybe even support you, even though you're not able to make ends meet. One of the things that we want to do is like figure out, okay, what's your frustration in the marketplace, right? Like where are you like truly experiencing pain? Like if you're going to go to a doctor, right? You don't just go to the doctor and the doctor just says, okay, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need. What does the doctor do? A doctor asks you questions, right? And if you don't tell the doctor what's wrong, right? Or if you're not truthful to your doctor, how accurate is his prescription going to be? And we know that people right now in society are over medicated or they're taking the wrong drugs. We want to give you the right tools right now, not just as a brand slogan, but really like dig in to make what's relevant. You have to participate in the chat, right? So right now, if you haven't already, please introduce yourself. At least say hello, right? You can type hello. That way we know that you're here and that you're listening. So one of the things I'm going to kind of do is I'm going to go into my screen share mode, because this is kind of I like to kick things off. Is I kind of drew out this visual, and this is what I call. Erica, can you see this? Okay.
Yep, that looks great. I love our bullseye. Yes.
Cool. So I like to call this the circle of blame, right? So who are we blaming right now for our inability to produce results or be able to create momentum, right? Now, I realize that, doing business is different right now. And so we can either make excuses for ourselves, or we can look at the different reasons on why we can't be productive. But at the same time, we can have a different outlook, right? So what do we typically do? We blame ourselves. We blame ourselves because we don't have the access to the right technology. We blame ourselves because we're not sure exactly what to do. We blame ourselves because something happened recently that's going to be able to set us back. Or we blame our brokers, right? Our brokers aren't giving us the right tools. Our brokers aren't telling us what we to do. Our brokers are absent because they don't know how to use the technology. And then, right, we get a situation where the MLS isn't working, right? The MLS isn't giving us exactly what we need. Or even we blame our clients. It's tough, right? It's super tough when a client isn't able to afford the home that they were going to able to before, or it's tough when a contract falls through because the inspection isn't going to work. But one thing I'd like for you to do here, and I'm just going to I'm going to erase this, right? I'm going to erase this instead of making the circle of blame. I'm going to turn this into the circle of fame, right? The circle of fame, where we need to start lifting ourselves up and the people around us and being not just optimistic, but highlighting some of the successes, highlighting what people are doing for us in a way that's truly authentic to bring that positive energy back, not spread the negativity, be the center of influence. I know we talk about sphere of influence, be the center of influence. So that way we can start to create a positive conversation. And they have different ways of being able to resonate with folks. If you can practice this, I don't know if it's spiritual or what, but at the highest level where you have a positive mindset. If you even need some ideas on how to do that, type that in the participant chat, because we're here to be able to help. And what's really interesting is with these screen to screen types of conversations is we can lift people up. And here's something to think about is when we lift other people up, they make us valuable, right? Because no one else is. When we lift people up, they make us valuable. So why not use screen to screen? And kind of like we're doing right now, where we're starting to lift each other up and we're starting to share what's possible. We're starting to share what's going to make us productive, not just now, right? Not just now, but what's going to keep us relevant in the marketplace afterwards. Also, I want you to think about this, like with the screen to screen process that we've been just discussing within the last, 3 weeks already. Like, are you taking ownership of this? I think what'll, if we were going to take a look at home ownership, right? If we, or living circumstances, we have the squatters, right? The people who just occupy a place, they don't pay rent, they're living there illegally, and they're going to get kicked out, and they have all these different excuses of why they can't get ahead. And then we have the couch surfers, right? And my favorite line, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, says that after 3 days of somebody staying in your place, they start to smell like fish. Now I don't know what the exact is, but when you start to stay with somebody for more than 3 days, it becomes a little bit awkward.
That sounds historically accurate.
Sorry?
I said that sounds historically legit and accurate. Absolutely.
Right. And then we have our renters, right? And it's okay to rent, right? And even God probably says that to most people that some people are meant to be renters. But I think where we want to kind of take ownership is say, how can we own the screen to screen selling process, right? And this will be a visual that we can share afterwards, so you can start to see, or if you start to have conversations internally with your teams and say, okay, hey gang, are we going to own this? Are we going to look at the market determine our success, or are we going to own our own success? And through kind of what we've been discussing in the last couple webinars, and what we're going to do for this one and the next one, is really help you own this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back out of this here, and I'm going to look you directly in the eye, right? Because if I can't hold you accountable, this becomes a passive form of learning, right? And I think a problem in our real estate industry is too much of our learning set up to say, okay, here's what you have to do, here's what you have to do. But very few people follow through. What is it? 10% of people actually implement what's talked about? Well, here's what I want you to do, right? So, there's a bunch of us who, and some familiar names and faces that are on here. Share something that you've done in the previous 2 webinars that has helped you, right? Or something that you've tried and you made a mistake at, and by making a mistake, you're better off because you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation that now the next time it's going to be a little bit easier. So Dorothy, Doris, Jean, Jennifer, Julie, Kyle, Patty, Linda, now's your time, right? Type in some of the successes you've been having using screen to screen. Otherwise, we just become a broken record that you tune into next week, right? It's like the next episode of Friends. Haha, No, we don't want this to be the next episode of Friends. We want to provide real value here. So inside of the participant chat, share one of your successes, right? And so if you don't have a success, or if you're still kind of on the edge, maybe you're a couch surfer. That's okay. Well, maybe you aspire to be able to own your own place or have your own place.
Or if you do think it could be Friends, please reply and say, is Doug more like Joey or is he more like Ross? Because that's what I want to know.
Yeah. Right. Cool. So Jennifer says she added the Zoom Outlook extension, was able to invite people to Zoom meeting with an RSVP. Awesome. Awesome. Because here's what Jennifer says is that Zoom extension that sends an invite, right? So she's using Microsoft Outlook. She sends an invite to somebody to join a Zoom meeting. That increases the likelihood that people are going to show up, right? That increases the likelihood it's going to integrate and save a spot on their calendar, and they don't have to copy and paste the Zoom meeting link and join me in order to be able to attend. That's huge, right? When you look at the success of like, okay, think about this. If I'm gonna drive out to somebody's house, right? I want to make sure it's saved on their calendar. Because if it's not saved on their calendar, they say, "Well, I forgot about it." Right? I mean, how many times have you had that happen? Oh, I forgot about it, or I didn't know, or oh, hey, you didn't remind me of that. When it's integrated with somebody's calendar, it increases the likelihood you're going to be able to show up. That way, you can have more meetings and stay productive. So great. Julie says she completed the ePro course, which is now free from NAR. Great. So here's my question is, what were you able to do from that, right? So taking the fact from learning to implementation is a step. It takes a step in courage, right? It's an action. So, if you want to share some things that benefit from you, great. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the content of today's session to really talk about, it's probably a key point I want you to be able to write down, is that every conversation is a marketing opportunity. All right. Every conversation is a marketing opportunity. So here's what I mean right now. If I start a Zoom meeting, right, and then I look as far as who in marketplace can I interview, right? It could be a lender, it could be a tax advisor, it could be an attorney on the transaction, it could be an insurance agent. Your customers have questions right now that need to be answered. Right. And many times, like sometimes you see an answer online before you even think to search for it. Right. Or you're just stumbling in your browser and say, oh, I was actually needed that. So why not already prepare the answers to the frequently asked questions that people are asking for in videos, the easiest way to do it. Right. I know that many people have a fear of being on camera. Right. And I forget who it was from your area who just posted that amazing story, a testimonial to having the courage to be able to get on video and have conversations. And now she's having Zoom meetings and is having success. I can't remember what her name was. But wow, what an
Yes,
empowering
that was
story.
Renee Casper, one of the agents in our local Milwaukee area. She did a great Facebook post on facing her fear, and she put her post on Facebook saying, I didn't want to do this. I was afraid to do it. And here I am. And I want to reach out to all my clients and my friends. And she did an excellent job. And that fear was something that you addressed in our previous town hall meetings.
Yeah, this is so cool, Eric. Thank you for sharing that. Totally made my day. And here's something to think about. I'll always be friend and playful. Like that's just who I am as a person, but also be direct, right? And I'm gonna kind of, this might challenge you, and you might say, "Oh, I don't agree with that," and that's okay, right? We can agree to disagree. But if you're not willing to get on camera like this right now, if you're not willing to do that or take that risk, then you're being selfish. You're being selfish, right? Why? Is because people are starving for answers right now. People are starving for the right information. And if you're not willing to put yourself out there, yeah, you can meet somebody face to face and that's fine. But if you're not willing to put yourself out there and really like share what people need right now because of the way that you feel, the way you look on camera, that's being selfish, right? So why not flip the story and just like Renee said, gosh, this is about other people. I'm going to make this about serving other people. That then helped her overcome that fear. And guess what? You're like, I can't say that you'll have the same success as Renee has, but you're going to be one step closer. I can tell you that right now. So one of the things to think about is every conversation becomes a marketing opportunity, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my screen. How to share you another way of looking at this. So you have before the screen meeting, you have during, and then you have after, right? So where would you get a list of frequently asked questions that people might have right now with regard to the market? You might even see this in your Facebook groups, right, that you belong to, your local Facebook groups. Not talking about realtor Facebook groups, but we're talking about local Facebook groups. Also, if you look at the sent items of your email inbox, this is also where you can get some of those frequently asked questions, like the current pain points, right? Not how necessarily how to buy a house, but under the current circumstances with COVID, how am I able to come and see these properties without being fearful of getting contracted with the coronavirus, right? So maybe you've already answered these items in your sent by email. Well, now this becomes great opportunities to think about what can you schedule these conversations for. Maybe there's contract issues that you have right now. Now, I'm not saying for you to have a conversation about a specific client, right? You want to put yourself where you're generalizing some of these things. You're not talking about specific people. But when you start to talk about, a contract fell through because of, I don't know, X, Y, or Z, that could become valuable information for somebody else later down the road when they're thinking about, buying or selling a home, that you want to be able to have this conversation. So now that you've thought about before, and then you're gonna send an invite to somebody to join a Zoom meeting, right? So kind of broken these down to 3 different. So during, you're going to talk about number 1, number 2, number 3 issues, right? That might potentially happen. Also, what you're going to do is you're going to take this Zoom meeting, and then you're going to have a couple options. You can then post to Facebook Live, or you can do YouTube Live. Now, with Facebook Live, you can post to your profile. You can post to your business page. You can post to a group, or you can even post to an event that you're the host of, right? Now, think about this. How long would a conversation take? Like this webinar right now is going to take 60 minutes, right? Now it could be less. It could be 20 minutes. Conversation could be 20 minutes. Time doesn't matter. What matters is impact, right? So if we think about having one of these conversations during, and then also think about this too, it's not just what you have as far as the video goes, but you also have the comments too, right? Where you'll be able to engage. And then after this is over, now you have a recording, right? You have a video recording. It's almost like a video file that's recorded of whatever happens on Facebook. I'm just going to put FB Live. If you post to Facebook Live, or you could have the recording on Zoom, right? Not only do you have that as a video, where would you post that video? Well, maybe you could post that on YouTube, right? Maybe you could post that on LinkedIn. Maybe you could post that, I don't know, Twitter. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you put it on your website. So when we think about this during here, this is like the time that it takes to be able to do this, really. Like when you think about before, it doesn't take that much time to think about, okay, what are some of the issues right now? And even for some of these things that you jump on, you're already an expert in your market. You know exactly what to talk about. You can get right to it, right? So if within this 60 minutes, I'm going to put 60 minutes here right now, as far as productivity, how many people can be impacted by the 60 minutes of time? Well, if you're thinking about just sending a Zoom invite to one person, let's say the lender, that's only going to help you and that's only going to help them. If you put it on Facebook Live, how many people could benefit from it? I don't know, hundreds, thousands maybe. And so what I want you to do is think about a little bit differently about a way to be able to approach this. And inside the participant chat, what I want you to do is say, okay, what are some of the topics right now that you could have conversations about, right? What are some of the questions that some of your customers are facing with respects to, the stay-at-home order, doing business in your area? Maybe it's new laws that are being passed, or maybe it's new insurance policies that are affecting businesses. Like, type this in the participant chat right now. This is your opportunity to make this real for you. And if you don't, we just become talking heads for
Well,
for an
I
hour.
would just say, Doug, something that I think a lot of you could just pay attention to, that I imagine a lot of interested buyers, or excuse me, interested sellers, and I'm going to make a differentiating point. There are interested sellers, and then there are folks willing to list right now, right? These are two different groups. They may be apprehensive. And part of that apprehension may come from the fact that they've read something, perhaps in the Milwaukee Business Journal, or another paper or a local news story, where I'll tell you that part of my time since all this has started is to
Yeah.
actually write them and to try to correct the narrative. Um,
Yeah.
I think any of you that pay attention know that we've had extreme shortage of inventory the last couple of years. And there was an article put out a couple of weeks ago, the fact that there's no inventory on the marketplace. Well, when you take a historical dive, that's not true. And so perhaps a lot of that anxiety could come from the local news groups, right? And
Yeah.
so if you pay attention, Doug, right, as an engaged member, you know that some folks may read that and then want to respond to it, when I think all the folks on this call and all of our members are in a perfect position where they can speak truth to, in fact, to speculation and fear in some cases.
Cool. All right, so let's do this, right? Because us talking about it is one thing. We're doing it right now. We're modeling the best practice of doing the Facebook Live, or doing the Zoom meeting to Facebook Live, and then it gets published and recorded so more people can be able to see. So we're actually like doing this right now. And so what if I'm going to go into the screen share right now, and I'm going to pull up one of these websites that you have for Metro MLS, and then somebody asks you a question, right? Like, how's the market right now, right? Or let's say we're going to talk about the market, and then I pull up this. This is everybody see this okay? Everybody see this okay? Now, I did this on purpose, right? Because sometimes when people do a screen share, it's zoomed out so much that people can't read it. You really want to make it to where people can read, know the shortcuts for zoom in, zoom out. It's a control plus, plus and minus. So when we look at let's say pull this up from the MLS, and this is the market report. You can do this real fast, right? And pulling this up. So right now, I'm having a conversation with Chris, and so Chris, I'm looking here at the MLS statistics and the median sales price for all the different counties in the MLS area. And I'm wondering what is going on here in Walworth, right? Did Walmart move to town because it has a 29.9% increase over the last year? Like, what's going on there? Because and something that the media might said, is this true? And what would you say?
Well, I would say you should speak to a qualified realtor in that community. I would say go speak to Bob Webster, because I know that he deals a lot with Walworth County right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So there's going to be situations where people come up, and why not have the statistics already ready to be able to have a conversation with, right? Especially if it's you talking to your lender, or you're talking to, the title company, and somebody asks a question, well, how's the market? Well, why not be able to go to the MLS to be able to pull this up in real time? And now this content that's already been created by the MLS has now become a part of your Facebook Live video, right? Or your Zoom recorded video then gets put on other places. Like, you don't have to create this from scratch, right? I mean, I could imagine you try to create your own Excel spreadsheet and no, use what's already available, make this a part of your conversation, and then it's going to be a whole lot easier, because now we're talking about what's real, right? Now we're talking about what's relevant. I'll give you another one of these to look at. So let's say that let's see, forms, right? So if somebody says to me, okay, uh, Chris, something that I was thinking about doing is selling my home, but I didn't want to put it on the MLS right now. What could you tell me? Right. So let's pretend we're talking. Somebody said, "Oh, Chris, somebody, I want to put my house on the MLS, or I want to put my house on the market, but I don't want to have it on the MLS. Like, how do I handle this?" Right. And so this would then be your opportunity to share your screen. Oh, I'm so glad you asked this. In fact, what we have is the seller advisory and authorization to exclude the listing from the MLS. And here's the paragraph that you need to pay attention to, because what ends up happening a lot of times is you see agents that will start advertising a property before it goes on the MLS. And right here, if you read this, it says listing agents found abusing intended use of MLS exclusion practices could be assessed liquidated damages by so I can't do that for you because I don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble. And here's the exact document that we're talking about. Capiche?
I understand.
Okay. All right. So this has already been provided for you. I guess where it comes down technically, when you go from screen share or go from video to screen share, we're using the video camera to be able to build the relationship, to be able to get to a point where a customer asks you a question, tell me more. Then you go into the screen share mode to then show them what the visual representation is. Now, I know most cases, if you're the trusted advisor, you might not necessarily have to go into this detail. But at the same time, when you think about it, if this is a conversation that's meant to be able to help more people, right? Then you can pull up the specific document where to be able to, and where you can even find it, so that it becomes real, that you become, oh, okay, this isn't just because, Doug said so. This is exactly where he showed it to you. And my other agent, right? My other agent wasn't able to show that to me. So you kind of think about these things in a little bit more detail. This is one of the reasons why you want to go to that extra effort, right? So I pulled up this on, I guess this is on the participant chat. Someone said that they're doing virtual showings and they realize that stabilizer is a better idea. That's awesome, right? So like if you're walking around and you're doing a video tour or a live tour like on Zoom, definitely get the stabilizer, because what that does is it prevents your phone from shaking. And this is a way back in time, right? In 2006 or 7, I did my first video listing tour. It was in the loft in downtown St. Louis, and it was a flip video camera. Do you remember the flip? Remember that thing? I'd walk through it, and then it would just, because I didn't have the stabilizer or whatever, people said they were getting nauseous from watching my video. So, it's better than nothing, but at the same time, people do pay attention to those details. And I'm just going to go here to participant chat to see if is anything else that comes up kind of before we move on to the next point here.
Well, the important one is I read one, Doug, that said you are the product of if Ross and Joey had a baby, you are a good mix. And I think that is the highest form of compliment you could expect to receive on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know who that was, but I'm grateful for that. So I'm coming back here to so this was some of the questions people had about what you can create these video screen to screen conversations. Getting loans while out of work. Awesome. So is there a specific form that you need to pull up? Is there a specific website that you can walk somebody through? Is there a lender that you can get to go have one of these Zoom meetings and do the Facebook Live? I think the perfect opportunity to do that. Okay, here's another one. Sellers not wanting to list now, right? That's an awesome topic for a video. Is why sellers think they shouldn't list now, but they're losing equity every day they decide not to. Now, I don't know if that's true. You'd have to be able to come up with statistics in order to be able to support that, because I think many times it's like there's the perception versus the reality. And if you can back up your argument with real data to support it, now you've just kind of gone against what everybody else is saying in the marketplace. which is going to lift, just going to raise you, I guess, your authority, especially when it comes to a competitive situation. Bob says, share specific stats to answer the questions. How's the market? Perfect. Increased number of lakefront sales. Cool. So yeah, I mean, when you think about, let's say, lakefront sales, you could pull up either the Google map, or maybe there's a tool inside the MLS, and you can get real specific and granular and showing that on a screen share, rather than if it was just the video of us talking, right? If it's just the videos talking, most people might say, okay, that makes sense. But when you can share a visual, boy, I mean, you're going to connect with more people, because more people are they're more visual learners than they are just, hearing the spoken word. So, any comments, Chris, Erica, before we move forward?
What I really like about the topics that you brought up, and thank you, Bob, for that comment. These are all timely and very relative, or not relative, but relevant topics. These are all conversations that Doug's talking about. This isn't just academic. The apprehension of listers right now, the ability to talk about the different variables in the marketplace, these are all opportunities that I would see for our members to engage consumers right now, because I know beyond anecdotally, you can see those concerns. So I really appreciate those that are paying attention to this information, because it will make an impact and change on your business. And it will impact the behavior of consumers that you deal with, I think, in a more educated method, which I think benefits everybody.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for that, Chris. I'm going to go into screen share mode, and I'm going to take you to my Facebook page, right? And so on here, I'm going to scroll down. If you all want to follow it, you can. There's no door prize for following my page. Sorry. Okay, cool. So if I go here to these are my videos that are published. So at the very top, it says within the page, here's all the videos. And all of these were done, I'm going to say like 90% of these were done from a Facebook Live, right? So this one was with somebody on how to create a self-coaching text message program. This one was with somebody on how to manage education, governance, and teams using screen to screen. Some of them are one-on-one. Here's one on, this is a friend of mine who owns a gym, and I reached out to him to say, hey, do you want to do a quick Zoom video live? Because I know a lot of people are struggling with fitness and staying at home, doing the right mindset. I'm going to pull up this one with Saul Klein. Now you might know Saul. Saul's a good guy. All right, everybody, welcome. So here's a video of me talking with Saul, right? So on here, after I've done this recorded video, I'm going to click on this box that says download video. Everybody see that? Oops. I did too much. Can you see this where it says download video? Cool. So I'm going to download this video, and now as I download, I'm downloading it to my computer. Now that I've downloaded this video to my computer, how else can I use this? Right? Maybe I can go into LinkedIn.com, and then I can click on home, and then I can click on video, and then I can find out where this video is located, and then I can click open, and then I can say, okay, it says this file you select is longer than 10 minutes. Please trim the video and try again. So that now you know that that's just for LinkedIn, right? YouTube is going to be a little bit different. So let's say I backed out, or let's say I went to YouTube, and then I wanted to upload. YouTube, I know, gives you a little bit more space to be able to upload it. And then I just take this from my downloads and drag it over here. And now this is being downloaded. So I'm going to say interview with Saul Klein, right? And then I can finish this later. I'm not going to do all of this right now, but if you don't know how to do a YouTube video, you can send it in the participant chat, and maybe we can share a link with you on how to go about it. So relatively speaking, this is how you would then get that up on YouTube. Now, I want to introduce to you a tool called Airtable. Are y'all familiar with Airtable? Okay. So what Airtable is it's like Google spreadsheets on steroids. Okay. So I want you to think about like organizing your content, not so much in Dropbox folder and Google Drives folders, but I want you to think about this for videos and content creation. So inside of Airtable, there's different templates. You can see there's a template for content calendar. There's a template for marketing, campaign tracking calendar. And really these templates, just like other templates, they're set up to where you can customize them, right? So one of the things to think about is these videos that you're creating is kind of like a podcast, right? So I'm just going to click use template. So this way you can start off from scratch, and I'm going to add this to it's called a base. So you can see what this looks like. So here it is, podcast editorial calendar. And I click on this and I open it. And this gives me the template of what my shows or my episodes of the people I'm going to interview with, right? And so if I click on this, see how this tabs up here at the top? So here's the episodes, like season, like what's your favorite TV series? Lost or Friends?
Not Friends. Ozark. Let's say Ozark.
Ozark. Okay. All right. So you can think about having seasons, right? Now, if I click on guests, here's all the names. So you make a list of all the people you're going to consider interviewing, right? Is it insurance agent? Is it an attorney? And you know from doing transactions over the years, you already have kind of your little black book of people who your go-to are. I mean, it could even be a Windows installer for all you know. You probably, as far as your frequently asked questions in the priority of the videos, you're going to talk about the ones that have the biggest pain points right now. So that's going to have to do with your lender. It's going to have to do with your title company. It's going to have to do with insurance, right? And so make a list of the people's names, their roles, their company, email address. So this is already put in here for you. Now here's something, see where it says headshot? What's great about Airtable is you can upload an attachment, right? Now this is just somebody's as kind of image as a template. But now see where it says, okay, I'm gonna go over here to episodes. See, do they have one for video? Okay, they don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and click plus, and I'm gonna call this the video file, right? Now I'm gonna change this type. I'm gonna customize the field type to where it's an attachment. Attached. See attachment? This is where you're actually uploading a file. Now, what's really difficult about using Excel or using Google spreadsheets or another traditional, should I call it Excel spreadsheet, is that it's very difficult to be able to like link a file, right? And the file isn't always the most updated file. So by having this stored as an attachment in here, you just upload it right here into upload the video file. So if I go here to my, so this was the video I did with Saul, right? See the video with Saul that I had from my YouTube Live, then I just drag it over here. Now it's uploading here right into Airtable. So if I'm gonna give this off to my assistant or I have somebody outsource this where they're gonna do some of this for me, it's a quick way of being able to create this content and have it organized so you don't have to do a lot of the laborious work when it comes to, the technical stuff. Right? Especially if your job as a broker, your job as a realtor is to sell real estate, right? The last thing you want to do is get caught up spending hours and hours and hours inside this stuff when you can delegate it out. Well, most project managers haven't heard of Airtable yet. So if you want to kind of stay ahead of the curve, this is a quick way to be able to do that. Now, also think about, so not just Zoom videos, but do you remember we talked about Loom? So if I go in here, so I'm creating a video of the local markets, the first quarter market reports. I use Loom. choose my microphone source, my webcam, and I click start recording. Share the screen. 3, 2, 1, action. Hey, everybody, it's Doug DeVitri with XYZ Realty, and I want to give you an update on the first quarter market report for 2020, because I know, especially with COVID-19, y'all are going to have questions regarding this. So, oops, did I already click end? I think I just clicked end by mistake. Let's do this again. All right, we'll do this again. Sometimes it's good to see it twice, right? Hey, everybody, it's Doug DeVitri with XYZ Realtor, and today I'm going to give you the first quarter market report for 2020 for the Metro MLS, and I'm going to share with you some insights, especially with what's going on with the COVID-19 for you to be aware of. So you get this information from the MLS, but the reason why you hired me is because I'm the expert on this information. I can interpret a way that makes sense to you so you can make a good decision. So right now, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see these statistics. And we've noticed a difference between Waukesha. Did I say that right?
Waukesha.
Waukesha, thank you. Thank you. Waukesha and Sheboygan, there's two different, 7.3% increase over the last year. And Waukesha compared to, sorry, that was funny, 2.5% in Sheboygan. And so I'm not going to go into more details of that, but so I can quickly record a video. It might take a minute or two for you to be able to do that. Now that it's on here, right next to the video title, I might even MLS report first quarter. I'm actually changing the title inside of Loom. And then I'm going to download the video, right? So I'm downloading this video, and you see how the circle's kind of spinning? I'm downloading the video to my computer, and then I come over to my podcast, or if I'm creating a course, right? If I'm creating all the different videos on forums I need to have for my agents, then I just drag and drop this, put it right into here, like this. Quick way of being able to create content, organize it in a way that makes sense, and then when I'm ready to upload it based upon the best practices or the rules that I have set forth, you can easily create content fast, right? I'll also give you another quick way of doing this, is I created a tool called myvideo.rip. So if you sign up, you get 100 free minutes. I'm just going to log in to show you how easy this thing is. So when I have the video, or after I'm logged in, I'm going to drag the video in here. So I'm taking the video, I'm going to create the audio file and a transcript. I just drag it right in, right? So as that thing's loading, it says, you can see how fast it's going to take for me to be able to do this. Then when I get the audio file, maybe I create another one this is for the audio file. So if I'm going to hand this off to somebody who's in a podcast, they've got the audio file. Now, if I want to have if you want to do the transcript, sometimes the transcript's going to be helpful because it's the summary, right? It's like, what did I say in the last 10 minutes? A transcript is a great way to go back and do it. So it says, I'm just going to go to my files right now. It's going to take some time for it to be able to create. But if I want to download here, so I just click this to download the text file, or this to download the audio file. It's a quick way of being able to create files in multiple formats to be able to put into your content marketing machine. I think many times we'd have to outsource this work to Upwork or outsource this to Fiverr.com. I don't know, it's just giving you ideas on how to be able to do this. I'm going to give you one more, then I'm going to open this up for questions. On this PDF that I have right here, this is the market report, right? So right now, Chris, how if I'm an agent in the market, can I make this a part of my PDF? that I present to buyers and sellers and put it online? Or are there rules regarding that?
You can certainly use it in any kind of presentation that you want. We put the content out there for any member to utilize.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna click download here right now. I'm just gonna download this report. I'm gonna save it into my computer, and then I'm gonna go over here to canva.com, and I'm gonna create a design. And this is gonna be, let's say, a magazine. Magazine cover. See that? I'm creating a this is like so I'm gonna, instead of this, I'm just gonna, what would be the real, this is real magazine, right? And instead of this picture, I don't even know what this is. That food? I'm gonna go to photos, and then I'm gonna type in homes. I don't like spending money if I don't have to, so I'm only gonna choose the free images. I'm gonna apply this filter. Boom. Real magazine. Now that image doesn't match the color of that photo, so maybe, I don't know, you're probably going to want to look at your brand colors before you just go ahead and do this. But now you have this, you probably change this around to say like, what do you want this to be? And then I'm going to download this as a PDF, right? And then I'm going to open up my Adobe Acrobat. Then I'm going to, what am I going to do here? I am going to combine files into a single PDF, add files, real magazine, first quarter MLS, combine. I'm not going to insert a video. Combine. I don't know what's asking me to do that. Oh, I see why. All of these. Combine. Now you're not going to choose all of these counties, right? Because you probably don't represent the entire geographic region of the MLS. But now this becomes your PD. See this PDF? And you probably want to throw in some articles too, right? Probably want to throw in some articles. If you want to add in some more articles here for this, you can then, create a new page in Canva and, keep going. So what I'm sharing with you is kind of how to use the content inside of here. And then if you really want to get excited about this, as far as getting the content out here, then you can create a SlideShare account. So SlideShare's got so popular. I mean, the SlideShare's been around for, 15 years or so? No, maybe not 15. I've been using it for maybe 12 or 13 years. And I've got 113 presentations on here. So if you look at your PowerPoint presentation that you have, you want to get this thing online for people to look at, you want to get the MLS statistics online, you create an account just like you did for Facebook or YouTube, and then you click upload, and then you choose, I'm not going to log in and do it, but it's the same deal, right? Now I'm going to upload my real PDF document, and now I can add it in to where it generates leads for me. I can share it out. I can make it part of my social media campaign in ways that, other people in your local marketplace probably won't.
Doug, if I'm a member and I've been attending this, I mean, I'm not a realtor, but there's so much information that I learned in this short 52 minutes. I'm really impressed with everything that you went through today. I think I may be biased, I think this has been the best session yet. Just with the approach and the content, I think it's fantastic. And I look at it as almost like there's so much information is it coming out at me as like a fire hose. And the good news is that the good work of this process, every attendee is going to receive a follow-up email from Erica that will highlight all the content that Doug discussed today on here. But more importantly, Doug, this is a good segue to do a couple announcements. I have an announcement, and then I want to ask you a question really quick, and then open it up to anybody else that has a question. This week's winner in the drawing, which was at random for Doug's book, the winner is, congratulations to Rose Bognason. Thank you so much, Rose, for attending. Loved seeing you on here. And she is this week's winner of Doug's book. So Doug, I was driving in today and I heard a bunch of hubbub on the business channel I was listening to, talking about the fact that Google is making a push for their own Zoom-like platform. And I was just curious if you've heard about Meet, if you've have any experience in, or you have any thoughts on Google's Zoom or Skype competitor that they're calling Meet.
Cool. Can we take this thing back off screen share? Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Eric. So let's get real, right? Let's get real about the current business environment, because I know a lot of us have been talking about Zoom. You've probably been Zoomed to death, right? So what we have to keep in mind is when we're working with customers, we need to choose the platform that they're most familiar with, right? That they already use. Well, if Google comes out with this new one called Meet, and you have to have a Google profile in order to have a conversation, you would never tell a customer, hey, use Google Meet. I want you to create a Google account so we can talk. That's just not going to work, right? Now, if a customer says, hey, I want you to meet on Google Meet, might be a good idea to learn how to use Google Meet. It might also be a good idea on how to use Facebook video inside of Messenger, right? Because now, when you look at the platform wars, it all comes down to features and which ones has the most valuable features in order to increase retention or maintain, or not increase retention, but improve retention. So my suggestion with this is become familiar with as many of these as you can, but because you're adapting what the customer's environment is, but always have a go-to, right? Always have a go-to, the one that it's kind of like, am I coming to your house, or are you coming to my office? Well, yeah, I'm going to come to your house. It doesn't matter if I live on a farm. It doesn't matter if I live in a condo. I'm still coming to your house, right? If you come into my office, I own that environment, right? I know that things are going to work. I know what chair you're going to sit in. I know where the printer is, right? You have a much higher level of control when people operate inside of your environment, but you would never say, hey, I'm not going to talk to you unless you come into my office. I mean, I guess you could, right? But you're probably going to lose some people. This is just my 2 cents on it's, and it has nothing to do specifically with Google, but it has everything to do with your process, right? And how you start to experience, new things that kind of come out.
Meet your customers where they're at, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Erica, do you have anything for us before we sign off?
No, but I really want to tell Doug how much we appreciate this. I feel like these pieces build each week. So those of you that haven't been on the previous town hall meetings, please be sure and go back and watch those. Doug, your platform Airtable that you talked about really reminded me of the bookmarks that you explained last week, and the folders. Anything that an agent or someone who's going to carry on one of these meetings, anything you can do in advance to be more prepared is only going to increase your level of professionalism to the client. So I think these are excellent advice givers. And I love your chart with the before, during, and after, because I feel like agents are having these conversations again and again and again. So it pays to record it. It pays to have it handy and at your disposal, because these concepts and these questions will come at you again.
Yeah, no doubt. One of the most valuable resources you have is your time. right? You can't get tomorrow back, can't get last week back, can't get last month back. And when you think about strategically multiplying your time, right? Every conversation is a marketing opportunity. And when you think about who you want to have conversations with, think about having conversations with folks that really can make an impact, right? Who really not just know their stuff, but also have a wide audience. Because if they start to share this, you've just multiplied your time as a resource faster than anybody going door to door ever would. Was that movie like Death of a Salesman? Right? Like this is the next level of that. Every conversation is a marketing opportunity.
Excellent. And that's a great place to leave it, I think, for
Yes.
this week. Doug, thank you
Thank
again for your time and your tutelage and your leadership in this process. Erica, thank you for all your work. But most importantly, thank you to the members who attended or
Yes.
watching this right now on a recording. Stay tuned next week for our next weekly Metro MLS Town Hall. I wish we had some Price is Right music right now to exit it all. But thanks, everybody. Stay well, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Doug.